What if the greatest mistake you could make isn't failing, but speaking too soon? What if the very dream you've been praying for, the vision you've been nurturing, or the transformation quietly unfolding within you could be weakened? Not by your enemies, but by your own words. There is a reason why the deepest changes in life happen in silence. A seed does not announce itself before it breaks through the ground. It grows in darkness, protected until the time is right. Your spiritual journey follows the same principle. If you have begun to sense that your life is changing from the inside out, if you've noticed a growing peace where there was once fear, if you feel drawn toward a purpose you cannot fully explain, then this message is for you. Not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are learning to live from a higher awareness. You are discovering that true power is not found in proving yourself to the world. It is found in remaining faithful to what you know within, even when no one else can see it. Most people unknowingly surrender their power by seeking approval, explaining their vision, or inviting opinions into places that should have remained sacred. They mistake attention for confirmation and conversation for creation. But what is created within does not need to be defended. It only needs to be believed. In this message, you'll discover 5 things that should remain protected until they have taken root so deeply within your consciousness that nothing outside of you can shake them. These timeless principles have the power to strengthen your faith, deepen your conviction, and help you remain aligned with the reality you are already bringing into existence. So stay with me until the very end, because the 5th lesson is the one that quietly transforms everything. It reveals why those who experience the greatest breakthroughs often speak the least, and why silence is not weakness, but one of the greatest expressions of faith. Every great transformation begins in a place that no one else can see. Before a new life appears in the outer world, it is first conceived in the silent depths of your own consciousness. Long before circumstances change, something changes within you. A new possibility is accepted. A new identity begins to take shape. A new vision is born. This invisible beginning is sacred because it is the foundation upon which everything else will eventually stand. The moment you receive a vision of a better life, a restored relationship, abundant prosperity, vibrant health, or a greater purpose, understand that it has entered your awareness for a reason. It is not there to be debated, defended, or explained. It is there to be nourished with unwavering faith. One of the greatest mistakes people make is feeling the need to announce their vision before it has become a living reality within them. They seek encouragement, validation, or approval from those around them, believing that support will strengthen their confidence. Yet true confidence is never borrowed from another person. It is built from within. Every opinion you invite into your sacred vision has the potential to influence your own assumptions. Even well-meaning people often speak from their present understanding of the world, rather than from the limitless possibilities of the unseen. They measure your future according to your current circumstances, forgetting that every visible reality was once invisible. Your imagination is not a place of fantasy. It is the workshop where your future is formed. Whatever you consistently accept as true within yourself gradually expresses itself in your outer experience. This is why your inner vision deserves protection. Just as a gardener protects a newly planted seed from harsh conditions before it grows strong enough to withstand the elements, you must protect your inner assumption while it is taking root. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It develops quietly beneath the surface long before anyone can see evidence of its existence. Likewise, your vision grows in silence until it becomes so natural within you that no opinion, criticism, or temporary appearance can uproot it. Many people abandon their dreams because they expose them too early. They share their deepest desires with those who cannot see beyond present limitations. They receive doubt instead of encouragement, skepticism instead of faith, and fear instead of possibility. Little by little, they begin to question what they once believed with certainty. Yet the problem was never the vision itself. The problem was allowing outside voices to become louder than the quiet conviction already present within. There is tremendous power in carrying your vision privately. Silence is not secrecy born from fear. It is protection born from wisdom. When you stop explaining what you are becoming, you preserve your energy for becoming it. Instead of spending your strength convincing others, you invest it in strengthening your own consciousness. Every day, return inward and occupy the feeling that your desire has already been fulfilled. Walk through your day as the version of yourself who has already received the blessing. Think from that fulfilled state rather than thinking about it as something distant. The more natural this inner identity becomes, the more effortlessly your outer world begins to reflect it. Do not become discouraged if nothing seems to change immediately. Visible reality often appears to lag behind the invisible work taking place within. This delay is not a sign that your vision has failed. It is simply the natural unfolding of what has already been accepted in consciousness. Continue to remain faithful to your inner picture. Refuse to let appearances define your belief. Every moment you persist in the fulfilled feeling strengthens the foundation of what is already coming into form. There will always be people who believe only what they can see. They will tell you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, or to accept life exactly as it appears. But those who understand the creative power of consciousness know that reality is always shaped from the inside first. What you consistently assume within yourself eventually becomes the experience you call your life. Therefore, guard your assumptions carefully. Protect your imagination as you would protect your greatest treasure, because in truth it is. When your inner vision finally becomes so real that it feels completely natural, something remarkable happens. You no longer feel the need to talk about it. You no longer seek reassurance, because certainty has replaced doubt. Your confidence becomes quiet, steady, and unshakable. Instead of announcing your future, you begin living from it. Instead of hoping, you know. And when the outer world finally catches up to the reality you have faithfully sustained within, others will call it luck, coincidence, or unexpected success. But you will know the truth. It was born in silence, strengthened by faith, and protected until it became impossible for the world to deny. The most profound transformation you will ever experience does not begin with your circumstances. It begins with your consciousness. Before your relationships improve, before opportunities appear, before abundance becomes visible, something shifts within you. You begin thinking differently. You respond differently. You feel differently. It is a change so subtle that the world may not notice it at first, yet it is the very change that determines everything that follows. This inner transformation is sacred, because it is the invisible cause from which every visible effect is born. Protect it. Do not feel compelled to explain it to those who can only recognize change after it has already become visible. There comes a moment when you realize that you are no longer the person you used to be. The fears that once controlled you begin to lose their grip. The worries that once occupied your mind no longer seem as powerful. Instead of reacting to life from anxiety, you begin responding from faith. Instead of identifying with lack, you quietly identify with abundance. Instead of believing that circumstances determine your future, you recognize that your inner state is creating the circumstances themselves. This shift may seem invisible, but it is the beginning of a completely different life. Many people make the mistake of announcing every step of their personal growth. They tell everyone how much they have changed, how deeply they have awakened, or how different they now feel. Yet genuine transformation does not need constant explanation. When a river changes its course, it does not announce it. It simply flows in a new direction. In the same way, your inner life should become so established that your actions naturally reveal what your words no longer need to prove. There is wisdom in allowing your transformation to mature quietly. Every new belief is like a tender plant that has only just emerged from the soil. If it is exposed too quickly to harsh conditions, it can easily be damaged. Likewise, when your new state of consciousness is still developing, unnecessary opinions, criticism, or even excessive praise can distract you from remaining faithful to it. Some people will question your change because it challenges the version of you they have always known. Others may unintentionally pull you back toward old habits simply because they are more comfortable with the person you used to be. That is why silence often becomes an act of spiritual strength rather than secrecy. Your true work is never to convince people that you have changed. Your work is to remain loyal to the new version of yourself until it becomes completely natural. Every morning, choose to think from the person you desire to be rather than about the person you hope to become someday. Feel the confidence before there is evidence for confidence. Feel the peace before the situation appears peaceful. Feel the gratitude before the blessing has fully arrived. These inner choices are the real transformation. The outer world is simply catching up with what has already taken place within. It is important to understand that your old identity will occasionally try to return. Familiar thoughts may appear. Old emotions may knock at the door of your mind. This does not mean you are failing. It simply means you are being given another opportunity to remain faithful to your chosen state. Every time you refuse to identify with fear and instead return to the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you strengthen the new consciousness you have chosen. Transformation is not achieved through one powerful moment. It is established through faithful persistence. As your inner world changes, you may notice that some relationships naturally shift. Certain conversations no longer interest you. Negative thinking becomes uncomfortable. Complaining feels foreign. You are not pretending to be different. You are becoming different. There is no need to explain this to everyone around you. Those who truly observe your life will recognize the change without needing an announcement. Your peace will become more convincing than any speech you could ever give. One of the greatest signs of authentic inner growth is that you stop seeking recognition for it. You no longer need people to tell you that you are wise, spiritual, or transformed. Your satisfaction comes from knowing that you are living in harmony with the truth you have accepted within yourself. This quiet confidence frees you from the exhausting need for validation. It allows you to continue growing without becoming distracted by applause or discouraged by misunderstanding. Eventually, the invisible transformation within you begins expressing itself in every area of your life. Opportunities appear where there were once obstacles. Harmony replaces conflict. Confidence replaces insecurity. Doors begin opening that once seemed permanently closed. To others, these changes may appear sudden or miraculous. They will wonder what happened. They may ask what changed. They will search for an external explanation. But you will know that the true miracle began long before anyone could see it. It began in the silent decision to become someone new within your own consciousness. So guard the quiet transformation taking place inside you. Let your life become the testimony instead of your explanations. Allow your actions to reveal what your words never needed to announce. When your inner world has completely accepted the reality you have chosen, the outer world will inevitably reflect it. And when that day comes, your greatest message will not be what you said. It will be who you became. There are moments in life that cannot be fully explained with words. They are not ordinary conversations, nor are they experiences that can be measured by logic or understood through the senses. They happen in the quiet places of the heart, where the noise of the world fades and a deeper awareness begins to speak. It is in these silent moments that you receive guidance, clarity, inspiration, and a profound sense of peace that seems to come from beyond your everyday thinking. These sacred conversations are among the greatest treasures you will ever experience, not because they make you feel special, but because they remind you of the divine presence already living within you. Such moments are meant to strengthen your faith, not become subjects for public approval. Many people feel an irresistible urge to tell others about every spiritual insight they receive. They believe that sharing every experience will somehow make it more real. Yet the deepest truths often lose their power when they are spoken before they have fully transformed the one who received them. Wisdom is not proven by how often it is discussed. Wisdom is revealed by how completely it is lived. A quiet heart that faithfully follows divine direction will accomplish far more than endless conversations about spiritual experiences. The voice of divine guidance rarely competes with the noise of the world. It does not shout. It does not force. It gently invites. It speaks through peace rather than pressure, through certainty rather than confusion, through quiet conviction rather than emotional excitement. The more you learn to listen inwardly, the more clearly this guidance becomes. But the moment you begin seeking constant validation from others, you risk replacing that inner certainty with external opinions. People can only interpret your experience through the limits of their own understanding. What feels deeply meaningful to you may seem ordinary or even unbelievable to someone else. That does not diminish its truth. It simply reminds you that not every sacred experience is meant to be explained. There is great strength in protecting the intimacy of your relationship with the divine. Consider how the most meaningful relationships in life are built, not through public display, but through private moments of trust, honesty, and devotion. In the same way, your spiritual life grows strongest when it is cultivated in quiet faith rather than constant exposure. Every time you enter into stillness, close your eyes, and feel the reality of your highest desire, as though it were already fulfilled, you are participating in a sacred communion. In those moments, you are no longer asking from a place of lack. You are accepting from a place of fulfillment. This inner acceptance becomes the creative power that shapes your outer life. There will be times when your inner guidance directs you toward decisions that others cannot understand. You may feel called to leave behind familiar habits, pursue unexpected opportunities, forgive someone who has hurt you, or confidently move toward a future that has no visible evidence yet. Those around you may question your choices because they can only judge according to appearances. They cannot see what has already been revealed within your consciousness. This is why your deepest convictions do not require universal agreement. They require unwavering faith. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Silence can be one of the highest forms of confidence. It demonstrates that your trust no longer depends on convincing anyone else. When your inner knowing becomes strong enough, you stop looking for permission to believe. You stop asking whether your vision makes sense to others because you have already accepted it within yourself. This quiet certainty becomes a source of remarkable peace. You no longer feel hurried, anxious, or desperate to prove that you are being guided. Instead, you simply continue walking in faithful obedience to the truth you have embraced inwardly. As you continue this journey, You may discover that your conversations with the divine become increasingly simple. They are no longer complicated requests filled with fear or uncertainty. They become moments of gratitude, trust, and joyful expectation. Rather than begging for change, you begin living from the awareness that what you seek has already been accepted within consciousness. You speak inwardly with confidence because you know that creation begins in the unseen long before it appears in the visible world. This shift changes everything. Instead of waiting for life to improve before believing, you believe first, and life responds accordingly. Eventually, the results of these quiet conversations begin appearing in ways that others cannot ignore. Doors open unexpectedly. Peace replaces anxiety, relationships heal. Opportunities arrive at exactly the right time. What once seemed impossible gradually becomes your daily experience. People may ask you what your secret is. They may wonder how your life changed so dramatically. You may smile, knowing that the greatest work was never performed in public. It happened in the silent sanctuary of your own consciousness, where faith replaced fear and inner conviction became stronger than outward appearances. So treasure your sacred conversations with the divine. Let them remain a source of strength rather than a topic for constant explanation. Continue returning to that quiet place within where truth speaks without fear and love overcomes every doubt. The world does not need to witness every moment of your spiritual journey. It only needs to witness the peace, wisdom, and transformation that naturally flow from it. When your life becomes the visible expression of your unseen communion, no further explanation will ever be necessary. One of the greatest truths you can discover is that your future is not created by what you currently see. It is created by what you consistently believe. Every visible circumstance is the result of an invisible state of consciousness that existed long before the world reflected it. This is why your desired future must first become real within you before it can appear around you. The moment you begin sharing your vision with people who judge life only by appearances, you expose your faith to unnecessary resistance. Those who can only believe what they see will naturally question what you have already accepted inwardly. They are not trying to harm you, they simply cannot recognize a reality that has not yet become visible. Most people make decisions based entirely on present facts. They examine their bank account before believing in abundance. They study current relationships before expecting love. They look at today's circumstances and assume tomorrow must look the same. Yet the creative law of consciousness works in the opposite direction. It begins with an inner assumption that eventually hardens into visible experience. What exists within first will, in time, exist without. Therefore, when you receive a vision of a greater future, your responsibility is not to convince others that it will happen. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to it until it becomes natural within your own mind. Imagine an architect holding the blueprint for a magnificent building. Before the foundation is laid, there is nothing for others to admire. If someone judged only by what stood on the empty land, they might conclude that nothing significant would ever exist there. But the architect sees beyond the present moment because the finished structure already exists in the imagination. In the same way, your desired future already has a place within your consciousness. Though invisible to others, it is becoming more real every time you return to it with faith and conviction. The danger of revealing your future too early is not that others possess the power to stop it. The danger is that their doubt may influence your own assumptions if your conviction has not yet become firmly established. Words have influence only when you accept them. If someone repeatedly tells you that your dream is unrealistic, impossible, or too ambitious, and you begin agreeing with those opinions, you gradually replace faith with uncertainty. The outer world has not defeated you. Your own state of consciousness has simply shifted away from the reality you once embraced. That is why protecting your vision is an act of wisdom rather than fear. There will always be individuals who believe they are helping you by encouraging you to be practical. They will advise you to lower your expectations, prepare for disappointment, or settle for less than what your heart knows is possible. They speak according to their experience, not according to your inner revelation. It is important to respond with kindness, but it is equally important not to surrender your vision to satisfy someone else's limited understanding. The greatest achievements in history often began as ideas that few people believed could ever become reality. If every dream had required universal agreement before it could manifest, very little progress would have ever been made. Instead of discussing your future endlessly, begin living inwardly from it. Feel the emotions you believe success will bring. Experience the gratitude, confidence, peace, and fulfillment now, rather than postponing them until circumstances change. Your inner state should never depend upon external evidence. When you consistently think, feel, and respond as the person who already possesses the life you desire, you establish a new pattern within consciousness. That pattern eventually expresses itself as the conditions of your daily experience. This is not wishful thinking. It is the natural movement from inner cause to outer effect. Persistence is essential because appearances often seem determined to contradict your vision. There may be days when nothing appears to be changing. Old circumstances may even seem stronger than before. In those moments, remember that appearances are only reflections of previous assumptions. They do not define what is being created now. Continue returning to the fulfilled state. Refuse to let temporary evidence persuade you to abandon the future you have already accepted within. Every faithful moment strengthens the unseen reality until it becomes impossible for the outer world to remain unchanged. As your conviction deepens, something remarkable happens. You become less interested in predicting when your future will arrive because you begin experiencing it inwardly every day. The feeling of fulfillment replaces anxious waiting. Hope matures into certainty. You stop chasing outcomes because you already identify with the person who has received them. This inner confidence changes the way you speak, think, decide, and respond to life. Without realizing it, you begin attracting opportunities, relationships, and circumstances that correspond to your new state of consciousness. Eventually, the future you protected in silence becomes your present reality. The very people who once questioned your vision may look at your life with amazement, wondering how everything changed so dramatically. They will only see the finished picture. They will not see the countless quiet moments when you remained faithful despite appearances, chose belief over doubt, and refused to surrender your inner vision to the opinions of the world. But you will know the truth. Your future was never created by external conditions. It was created the moment you accepted it within yourself and remained loyal to that unseen reality until the visible world had no choice but to reflect it. The greatest faith is not the kind that constantly seeks attention. It is the kind that remains steady in silence. True faith does not feel the need to announce itself, defend itself, or convince others of what it believes. It simply knows. It rests in quiet confidence, even when the outer world offers no visible evidence. This is the kind of faith that transforms lives because it is rooted in inner certainty rather than external approval. When you discover this secret, you realize that your greatest strength is not found in talking about what you believe, but in faithfully living from that belief every single day. Many people mistake speaking for believing. They talk endlessly about their dreams, their spiritual journey, and the future they hope to create, yet inwardly they continue to doubt whether it is truly possible. Words alone have no creative power unless they are supported by a corresponding state of consciousness. The world does not respond merely to what you say. It responds to what you consistently accept as true within yourself. This is why a person who speaks very little but lives with unwavering conviction often accomplishes far more than someone who constantly talks about possibilities without ever fully believing them. Faith is not measured by excitement during favorable moments. It is revealed during seasons when nothing seems to change. Anyone can believe after the evidence appears. Real faith begins before the evidence exists. It chooses to remain loyal to the unseen reality even when the senses insist that nothing is happening. It refuses to surrender to temporary appearances because it understands that the invisible always gives birth to the visible. Every lasting achievement begins first as an accepted assumption within consciousness long before it becomes a fact in the external world. One of the greatest reasons to protect your faith is that doubt often spreads through conversation. Every person sees life through the lens of their own experiences. Someone who has repeatedly encountered disappointment may unknowingly project those expectations onto your future. Another person may genuinely care about you, but encourage you to lower your expectations out of fear that you might get hurt. While their intentions may be sincere, their limitations do not have to become yours. The moment you allow another person's fear to replace your own conviction, you interrupt the very creative process that was quietly unfolding within you. This does not mean isolating yourself from the world or refusing to listen to wisdom. It simply means recognizing that your deepest certainty must come from within. The more firmly established your faith becomes, the less dependent you are on encouragement, praise, or reassurance. You begin to understand that your responsibility is not to persuade others that your vision is possible. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to the feeling that it has already been fulfilled. This inner loyalty becomes the foundation upon which every outer manifestation is built. There is extraordinary freedom in allowing reality to speak on your behalf. Imagine carrying a priceless treasure. You would not display it carelessly before everyone you meet. You would guard it until the proper moment. In the same way, your faith is one of your greatest treasures. Protect it from unnecessary doubt, criticism, and distraction. Continue nurturing it through gratitude, quiet reflection, and the daily practice of identifying with the person you have chosen to become. Every moment spent dwelling in the fulfilled state strengthens your new identity and brings your outer world into greater harmony with it. As you persist, you will notice subtle changes long before dramatic ones appear. Your reactions become calmer. Your decisions become wiser. Fear loses its influence over your choices. Confidence begins to replace hesitation. You stop asking, "Will this happen?" and instead begin living from the quiet assurance that it is already unfolding. This shift is the true miracle. The outer results are simply the visible expression of an inner transformation that has already taken place. Eventually, the day arrives when the reality you once held only in your imagination begins standing before you as undeniable fact. The opportunities you envisioned appear. The doors that once seemed closed begin opening. The peace you practiced inwardly becomes your daily experience. Others may look at your success and wonder how everything changed so quickly. Some may call it luck, perfect timing, or coincidence. But you know that what they are witnessing is not sudden at all. It is the harvest of countless unseen moments when you remained faithful, even when there was nothing visible to support your belief. When reality finally begins speaking for you, explanations become unnecessary. Your transformed life becomes the testimony. Your peace becomes the evidence. Your confidence becomes the proof. People are far more inspired by what they witness than by what they hear. A life quietly transformed carries more influence than 1,000 persuasive speeches. That is why the deepest faith does not seek recognition. It seeks only alignment with the truth accepted within. So guard the secret of your faith with wisdom and patience. Continue to imagine the life you desire as though it already exists. Continue to think, feel, and act from the fulfilled state, regardless of present appearances. Let your confidence grow in silence until it becomes stronger than every doubt. And when the appointed time arrives, you will not need to convince anyone that your faith was real. Your life itself will tell the story. The blessings you once protected in the unseen will become visible for all to witness, proving that unwavering inner conviction is always more powerful than outward appearances. Remember this: the greatest transformations are rarely announced. They are cultivated in silence, strengthened through unwavering faith, and revealed only when they have become an undeniable reality. The world will always respond to the state of consciousness you consistently occupy, not to the words you speak about it. Protect what is sacred within you. Guard your vision with quiet confidence. Let your imagination remain fixed on the life you choose to experience, regardless of what your senses report today. Every moment you remain faithful to the unseen, you are planting seeds that will one day appear as visible facts. There is no need to rush, defend your dreams, or seek permission to believe in what your heart already knows. The unseen always precedes the seen. Every masterpiece exists first in the mind before it is ever touched by human hands. Your life follows the same law, so walk forward with peace instead of pressure. Choose faith over fear, persistence over doubt, and inner certainty over outward approval. Allow your results to speak louder than your explanations. When your life becomes the evidence, no argument will ever be necessary. May you continue to trust the divine presence within you, remain loyal to your highest vision, and discover that everything you have faithfully imagined is already finding its way into your experience. Keep believing, keep imagining, and above all, keep becoming the person who already lives the life you desire. Thank you for spending this time with us. If this message encouraged you, inspired you, or helped you see your inner power in a new way, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell so you never miss future messages. Share this video with someone who may need this reminder today. Sometimes a single message can awaken a new level of faith and transform the direction of a person's life. Finally, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 lessons spoke to you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and join this growing community of people committed to living with faith, purpose, and quiet confidence. Until next time, continue to trust the vision within, remain faithful to your highest assumptions, and remember, the life you consistently imagine with conviction is the life you gradually become. Thank you for watching, and may peace, wisdom, and abundant blessings be with you always.